tonight. Dog owners express concerns about a review of Regina's animal bylaw. U.S. tariffs force a combine manufacturer to move production overseas. And commemorating Truth and Reconciliation Day through art.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, September 26th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Some pet owners in Regina are concerned about a new animal bylaw review. It's left some people worried the city is planning to ban particular breeds and restrict outdoor spaces for pets. Aliyah Marco Omene has our top story.
The City of Regina has released a 12-question survey asking residents for their feedback on its animal bylaw. Several of the questions in the current Phase 1 survey focus on aggressive dogs. That's concerning some dog owners who are worried that some dog breeds might be targeted. Oralee Hankins rescued her dog from a reserve near Tisdale. She says aggressive dogs have nothing to do with the breed.
He could have been an aggressive dog when I had him. He's got pit bull and Rottweiler in him, and he's the nicest dog I've probably ever had. So, I mean, you could train a lab to be mean, right? You know, it has nothing to do with the breed. It's the environment.
The city says this is the first full review and survey it has done since 2009, and that past changes have been minor and usually related to dog park locations or administrative changes. The city says council and the pet licensing department have heard questions about breed bans in other municipalities, and now it's asking residents to weigh in.
The City of Regina needs to consult with our residents before we make any decisions on this topic. So the feedback that we receive, along with best practices from other cities, will help shape our regulations.
The mayor is also stating his position on a breed ban. He's opposed to one. He says he's had many conversations with residents who have had severe incidents with dangerous dogs.
One statement that I have made, and I stand behind it, is that I don't believe banning dog breeds is an answer. That's my stance on that. I believe that it's holding owners responsible.
The mayor says he is confident that same sentiment will come out of the November animal bylaw update. He says the city is working to ensure there is stronger wording and legislation in place so owners will be held accountable for their pets. The city will be holding a public consultation meeting Friday evening, and the survey officially closes on October 3rd. Aliyah Marco Omene, CBC News, Regina.
Regina police say one of their officers shot and killed someone following an incident in the city's East End. It happened on East Houghton Road near Prince of Wales Drive late Thursday night. Police tape could still be seen Friday morning around a parking lot between a credit union and an apartment building near the intersection. Police say they were in the area for an investigation when the fatal shooting happened. No other information was given about the person who was killed. The Saskatchewan Serious Incident Response Team, the province's police watchdog, is now investigating. First Nations leaders and community members gathered in Saskatoon Friday demanding transparency and accountability from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations. It comes after a federal audit flagged $34 million in questionable transactions over the past 5 years. It found the FSIN was not following its own policies when spending money. The report showed millions of dollars in questionable expenses related to pandemic funding. It also raised red flags on raises and retro pay, fleet vehicles, and travel expenses. The FSIN executive has not responded to the audit's findings. Many First Nations people in the province are demanding answers and change.
We have to improve the changes immediately to get the credibility back for FSIN. This is bigger than one person. This is about the history that's been created to fight for our treaty inherent rights inside of this world that we live in. And when it does it properly, it makes a difference in our people's lives. But this is not proper. This is $34 million that's unaccounted for. Why? We need the executive to stand up and tell the truth. What is happening?
Arcan says the FSIN, which represents 74 First Nations, was supposed to help First Nations people. Instead, he says it has deceived and embarrassed them. A major manufacturer of combines is shifting its Canadian-bound production from the U.S. to Germany. As Jeffrey Tram reports, the move highlights growing uncertainty around trade and what it means for farmers here in Saskatchewan.
It's harvest season, and for farmers like Lee Moats, a combine plays an important role in bringing in their yield.
Combine is really what we're using to capture the value that we produced. It harvests the grain, and so it's essential.
It's an investment that costs millions, but it's an investment that Moats says is necessary.
Without a combine, I'm just not exactly sure what we do.
Moats owns 2 combines from Claus. He's been using their machines for over 20 years.
Our interest in a Claus combine had to do with how they perform. They're very durable machines, last a long time, which is important to us.
Claus is one of several companies that has primarily sold to farmers in the prairies. The company has long built its machines in Nebraska, but it's moving its Canadian production to Germany as a strategic response to the current trade climate.
What's basically happening is firms that have operations in both the US and in Europe are sidestepping the entire issue of tariffs by saying we'll just produce for the Canadian market in a country that doesn't have a tariff dispute.
CUSMA, the Canadian-United States-Mexico trade agreement, is up for renegotiation next year, and experts say that uncertainty makes it harder for companies to plan ahead.
Well, this makes it really difficult to develop international supply chains and to really optimize your production processes if you're a multinational company. Companies like certainty. The more certain the future is, the more they can plan for the long term, and that actually facilitates investment.
The move, experts say, may lead to more companies relocating in the future.
And if it's cheaper to send across an ocean rather than send it across a heavily tariffed border, that's what they'll do.
For Moats, he understands the decision, given the uncertainty as trade disputes continue. But he believes that despite everything, farming in Saskatchewan has never been better. Jeffrey Tram, CBC News, Royston, Saskatchewan.
Nearly 70 refugees are getting some help to find jobs in Regina this week. 9 local employers are looking at resumes and hoping to fill vacant positions. And as Sarah Onyango tells us, the applicants were also given some coaching to help them feel more at ease.
When Peter Wall fled Sudan's civil war and came to Canada in 2000, he hoped for stability and opportunity. He found full-time work, but after briefly returning to Sudan during the pandemic, he lost his job and hasn't been able to get back on track.
So I used to have a contract, so when I came back, I lost it because of, Corona thing changed.
Wall now works 2 part-time jobs, but he says things have changed, and finding consistent work is harder than it used to be.
Back in the day, I used to work at the hotel and McDonald's, but lately, the last job I lost, so I didn't get a job anymore, Yeah, so the job I get is like the same normal job, like part-time, instead of getting more hours.
He's not alone. For many newcomers, the hiring process in Canada can feel like another uphill climb. Another job seeker says, despite the challenges, he's determined to keep moving forward.
It's challenging. It's really challenging, but I believe that I'm getting there, and I have what it takes to settle in, and I have what it takes to be among people that have a good story in this city.
Dozens of candidates, each with their own story, attended Wednesday's event. To help prepare them, organizers brought in performance coaches, preparing candidates to enter the Canadian job market.
Just to calm their nerves, to go over a few questions that employers may ask them, as well as give them some other ideas that they might not have thought about.
Kurchuk says most candidates have overcome a lot to relocate, enormous challenges such as war, trauma, and discrimination.
Well, these folks are experts in thinking on their feet. Being a refugee is very stressful coming to a new country. So I have great feelings that they'll be able to handle those tough questions that interviewers have for them.
She says the biggest barrier isn't skills, it's access to networks and information about who's hiring. Hope is also a powerful motivator. For candidates like Wall, this was about moving forward. And while the path isn't easy, events like this offer something just as important, a place to start. Sarah Onyango, CBC News, Regina.
Well, Wascana Trails north of Regina is gorgeous this time of year, of course, with all of the fall colors out there. And it has been especially beautiful with all of this gorgeous weather we've had lately. And it'll be another weekend where you're going to want to take advantage of this extended version of summer we seem to be having. Weather specialist Riley Lachuk has our very warm and sunny weekend forecast after the break. Stay with us. Postal workers are back on the picket line in Saskatchewan. They walked out after the federal government announced plans to reform Canada Post. Ottawa says the measures are aimed at shoring up the corporation's struggling finances. Canada Post says it's losing as much as $10 million a day, but the union says it's worried the corporation is simply trying to dismantle the postal service.
Canada Post is just using the government to do all of their heavy lifting and just not even bothering to go to the table and negotiate. And I don't think it's too much to ask the bare minimum of the corporation to just meet with us and, have a contract.
Canada Post says no mail or parcels will be processed or delivered during the strike, and service guarantees for items already in the mail are suspended. Well, some young people in Regina are commemorating Truth and Reconciliation Day with a special art project. And as Darla Panes reports, they're using a special printmaking process to spread their message.
So we're still at tracing and drawing stages.
This lino cut workshop is inspired by Orange Shirt and National Truth and Reconciliation Day. It's giving these kids the chance to express their feelings and understanding of truth and reconciliation through art. Their group, the North Central Strong Youth Advocacy Committee, is all about creating positive changes in their community. Here they are carving lino cut pieces inspired by their personal vision of reconciliation.
We're doing it for the Every Child Matters Day, and we're just going based off of what we want and how we're going to represent our way of showing truth and reconciliation.
Some of the kids featured their family in their pieces, while others wanted to showcase their communities.
I put the tree as in growth because there is constant growth within our people and the children that are in this community specifically as well, especially like the Indigenous peoples. And I just think we're always constantly growing and making a difference and evolving.
Claire Tuckano helped to put on the workshop. She says for Indigenous people, Truth and Reconciliation Day is not just September 30th. It is a lived experience every day. She says the ink press workshop gives them a safe space to talk about their family histories and share what they feel is important to reflect on.
We really wanted to create this workshop to involve them and to involve their voices and their stories as they honor Orange Shirt Day and observe it, and also honor their loved ones that attended the Indian residential schools, as well as honoring the children and again, just bringing in their beautiful creativity to it.
Truth and reconciliation means to remember and acknowledge the impact of what the residential schools have done to our community and our people. And I think it's really important to bring awareness to it because not many people understand.
The orange shirts they made will be on display after the ink is completely dried. They say they plan to keep them up for many years to come. Darla Panes, CBC News, Regina.
Well, if you look really closely, you might still be able to see the trees and the light posts swinging in all the wind out there that we've seen across the province. And weather specialist Riley Lachuk is here to tell us if that wind is going to continue through the weekend. Hi, Riley.
Well, Ethan, yeah, the story today, definitely the winds across south and central. Just to have a look at some of the numbers as we've gotten through the afternoon hours here. These are peak wind gusts since midnight. So looking at wind gust of 70 in Kindersley, for example, a bunch of 60s, 65s even through central parts of the province. Regina, a gust at up to 63 kilometers an hour. And the thing I'll point out with these numbers, as these are only the readings at the top of the clock from Environment Canada, so it's entirely possible that we did see some gusts even exceeding these numbers throughout the afternoon, through the afternoon hours, in between the hours. So a very windy day today. We are looking at winds tapering off as we get through the night into the day on Saturday, but certainly still staying breezy through into the early morning hours on Saturday. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Afternoon temperatures a bit closer to seasonal for this time of the year. We should be around 15, 16 degrees. So, I mean, 18s and 19s, not too terribly uncomfortable for this time of the year. Estevan at 20 degrees, 14 in La Ronge, 11 in Collins Bay. So that cold front that swung through as we got through the day on Thursday, certainly having an impact on our temperatures. Another weak cold front pushing through the afternoon hours. You can see an area of low pressure that pushed up into Manitoba with this cold front dragging behind that. That also helped pull temperatures back slightly as we've gotten throughout the afternoon hours. In behind that, high pressure close to the surface, helping to clear things out as we get through into the day on Saturday. So as we get through the overnight hours, clear skies, that'll allow temperatures to dip slightly once again as we get through into the morning hours on Saturday. In the wake of this low, as it pushes off into Manitoba, maybe a few more scattered or isolated showers into far northern parts of the province, into places like Uranium City, for example, but not too wet as we get through the next couple of days. A dry stretch setting in once again, maybe a bit of extra cloud cover into Sunday and some scattered showers into some of that, but really the rest of the province under mainly sunny skies as we get through the weekend into Monday, and we're looking at this dry pattern holding in place even as we get through into the long range forecast. So winds as we get into the day on Saturday, looking at really dying off as we get through the overnight hours. Then we're back into a bit of a situation where we're into a bit calmer winds, and then we'll get back into some of that as we get through Saturday into Sunday again. I've stopped it here at lunchtime on Sunday. You can see winds gusting up to about 30, could see some gusts even up to 40 through Sunday and Monday. So overnight temperatures, again, cool for this, for the overnight hours, not too terribly unseasonal. 3 in Saskatoon, 4 in Regina, breezy conditions sticking around. Then as we get into the afternoon, back above seasonal for this time of the year, up to 25 in Maple Creek, 22 to 24 degrees across most of south and central, Ethan, and maybe a few showers into the north.
Okay, thank you, Riley. Well, a man from Milestone is making his mark in the baking world. He's just finished baking over 700 fruitcake orders for the Christmas season. He bakes them in his home and bastes them with liquor before hand delivering them across the globe.
And about 6 years ago, I thought, I wonder if anybody eats fruitcake anymore. So I threw it on there on my Facebook page, and I got, I believe, orders for 28. I've never tasted anybody else's, so I can't be the judge whether mine's any better than theirs or not. But I guarantee you they're not baking 724 of them. So all that has to be planned and organized. And by mid-November or sooner, I have them out of here. Well, starting with the Northwest Territories and from Vancouver Island right through to Newfoundland. A lot of people hold on to them until Christmas, and they tell me it isn't Christmas without one of my cakes. It simply isn't Christmas. And that's what they tell me. But a lot of people can't stand it, and it's gone before Christmas. So you know what happens? The next year they double up on their orders. So they put one away, and then the first one, they were demolishing it as soon as it arrives.
Well, it's not a shooting star. It's not a space shuttle. This is actually debris from a SpaceX Starlink satellite falling back to Earth, and it was seen over Saskatchewan earlier this week. Starlink satellites have a lifespan of just 5 years. So when they've reached the end of their life, they fall back down to earth, leaving behind metals. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Four students from Elsie Mirnak School in Regina are about to head out on a trip of a lifetime. They are going to Disneyland in California thanks to an organization called Dreams Take Flight. The students were surprised with the news at an assembly Friday afternoon.
These four wonderful students will be getting on an airplane and going to Disneyland in Anaheim, California.
I didn't expect this to happen. I got called up for trivia, and then after, I just won. Well, we just got trips to Disneyland.
I was chosen when I went in elementary school to go on the same thing. We've already talked about it before. Like, I've told them that I went before and explained it to them, but I never actually thought that she would be going. We're going to Disneyland!
We look for these kids who just don't have this opportunity in life, whether it's socially, financially, stuff like that. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to work with these families, these educators, because the educators know these kids the best and do such amazing work with them. And this is not winning a trip to Disneyland, this is earning a trip to Disneyland, because these kids are, as I said during the assembly, they're great people in their community, they're great people at home, they're in the classrooms helping out their friends and their classmates, and they're just good kids who deserve something special.
So I was mentioning a dry stretch of weather continuing, and you'll see that in your long-range forecast here for Regina, looking at 24 degrees into the afternoon on Saturday. Mostly sunny skies through the weekend, and look at these temperatures, up to 27 on Sunday. That's a full 12 degrees above seasonal for this time of the year. Our normal overnight low at 1 degree. Yeah, we're well above that as we get through the weekend. Bit windy, maybe breezy on Sunday, but more of a windy scenario into Monday and Tuesday. That's about the most weather-wise that we'll see for any real weather as we get through the next 7 days. 25 into Wednesday, 24 into Thursday. For Saskatoon, normal overnight temperature at 4 degrees. Couple of sevens on the board through the weekend here. High temperatures 22 into Saturday, 21 into Sunday. Bit breezy as we get Monday into Tuesday. Temperatures up to 26 by Tuesday, 24 into Wednesday, Ethan. Then we start to fall back closer to more fall-like temperatures by the end of next week. But we have a little ways to get between now and then.
Yeah, a little bit of summer left in that forecast for sure. Thank you, Riley. And that is our news for this Friday. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/Sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend.